If you want to run a faster half marathon, there are no shortcuts, there is no secret sauce, there's nothing that I'm hiding underneath this hat here that's gonna teach you how to take 5 minutes off your half marathon PR. However, what I will do in this video is break down all the things that I've done in my own training to shave 10 plus minutes off my half marathon time in the past year or so, getting down to a recent PR of 1:19:28. If you guys like this, I might make this video a series, but what I'm gonna do in this one is walk you through the last 10 weeks of my training. I'm gonna go through all of the weekly mileage levels that I hit for that last few months. I'll also highlight some of the key workouts and things that I did throughout the week that built up my fitness to this peak level. All right, so I'm gonna fire up Strava here. So I'm gonna take you back to the beginning of my build as I was ramping up my mileage to 100 miles a week. So first week here, I was at 70 miles and I was prioritizing really just building up that aerobic base here. So you could see Monday, I did 8 miles in the morning, 3 miles in the afternoon, and then I did 4 by 1.5 miles on Tuesday as my workout. Now you can see here, if we pop into this workout, I said back at it, felt out the paces on this one, nice little progression. So typically what I'll do after a period where I haven't been training for a lot, so in July I was up in the Cape at my mother-in-law's house, wasn't really doing a lot of good solid running. I was getting out there running 4 to 8 miles, but no workouts or anything. I also caught a little bit of a bug. So when I get into structured training again, I never prescribe any paces for myself. So I might say, okay, I'm gonna do this 4 by 1.5 mile workout with my boy Cam, but I'm not gonna be holding myself to say, okay, I wanna do 6:15s today. I just feel it out and I let my body tell me what pace I should be running. So I would highly recommend, when you start one of these training blocks, if you haven't been doing a lot of workouts, just feel out the paces. You don't have to be running at that specific specified pace. You don't have to be running at goal pace. You can just let your body tell you how you should run. And then that weekend, I did a 16-mile long run. So a key piece of my training was that 16-mile long run. I had that in every single week of the plan. One of my goals for the spring and summer was to do 16 weeks straight of a 16-mile long run, and I held that all the way up until race day. I eased off of my long runs the past few weeks after the race ended, but that was a key part of my program here. Getting into the second week of the plan, I maintained that Monday 8-mile run, added in a little bit of a longer run on the treadmill of a double, and you'll see here I had 3 doubles this week. Looks like this week I was running on the treadmill a lot. I was up at Duke for my business school program, so you gotta use the tools that are around you. For example, another big part of my program here was doubles with the stroller, because that's when I hang out with my son after work. I'll put him in the stroller and we'll do a double in the neighborhood. I'll run 4 to 6 miles. And getting that second run with the stroller helps build up my leg strength. It helps add some light resistance work in. It's not gonna be as intense as going to the gym, so I won't get that muscle soreness, but I will get the benefit of some added strength. Early September is when I really started building up my mileage. You'll see here on the week of September 4th, I ramped it up to 88 miles on the week from 84 the week before. And again, I had that Monday with a double, I had Tuesday with a workout, and I had that Friday long run. At this point, I wasn't completely consistent with a race pace workout. I started adding that in a little bit later into the training block. For example, here I did it on Wednesday, and then throughout the training block, I started doing it more on Thursday. Another big piece of running a successful training program is having consistency throughout the duration. For example, you should pick 1 day a week to do your long run and stick to it. Now, a lot of the big books have the long run day as Sunday. I had it in my plan as Saturday, and I stuck with that Saturday for every week of the program. Same thing with my workouts. I would do all of my interval and strength workouts on Tuesday with my friend Cam at the track, which accountability is also really important. So it's great to have a buddy to do some of this stuff with. And then Thursdays would be my race pace workout. So every Thursday I was doing that race pace workout without fail, consistently, same day of the week. If I had to do it on the treadmill because I was traveling, I did it on the treadmill, but I made sure to be consistent with it and to keep it on the same day. Now, it took me until halfway through the training block, until 6 weeks out from the race, to really lock that in place. I'm not the type of person who builds 5-year plans, let alone 6-month training plans where I have every single workout mapped out. I have a general high-level approach of the goals for that training block and what are the key non-negotiables that I want to hit. For example, for this one, I knew that 16-mile long run was going to be a huge huge piece, so I did that consistently. I knew that I needed to get in a race pace workout every week to get comfortable with that race pace, so I scheduled that in for Thursdays. And then I also knew that developing some top end speed and just being consistent with workouts was a huge thing, so I committed to doing that every Tuesday with my boy Cam at the track up in Harrisburg. So September here, this was my birthday week actually, and it was also the first week that I hit 100 miles a week. I had 89 the week before, and I knew that I wanted to get my mileage up. I thought, why not? It's my birthday week, let's go for it. So I did it, and I was feeling pretty good. And the biggest thing when you are building up your mileage, when you're trying to train for that new PR, is to be more conservative with the pace than you think you have to be, right? So if you look at this week, I did my 16-mile long run at a 7:32 pace, and then I did my aerobic run the next day at a 7:08 pace. Now, my half marathon race pace was gonna be 6:04. So for me, conservative means anything slower than a 7-minute pace. And it's really important that you stick to those easy pace ranges for those days where you're not gonna be doing a structured workout. So I ended up holding 100 miles per week for 3 weeks. So for the second week of this 100-mile build here, I ended up upping my Monday morning run to 10 miles, and I started doing that at a steady pace. So steady is your aerobic threshold. It's different than your anaerobic threshold. That anaerobic threshold is the pace that you can hold for about an hour. The aerobic threshold is the maximum pace that you can run without burning off all of your glycogen fuel stores, which means once you start tapping into those glycogen reserves, that's when your pace slows down. So for me, that was about 6:40 per mile when I was at peak fitness. Right now, I feel like I'm not at peak fitness because my goal race ended and I'm in a valley of recovery. As I got more comfortable with the higher mileage level, I was able to stack these back-to-back hard days together. Now, steady runs aren't necessarily a hard day, but they are more quality than just a recovery running day, where if you look at this, my recovery running pace this week was an 8:09, whereas my steady pace was a 6:40. So that's a pretty big difference, a 90-second per mile pace difference between recovery and steady. So I had a moderate day on Monday, into that hard day on Tuesday, into a relatively easy day on Wednesday. Modulating your intensity throughout the week is going to be a big piece of it, but once you are comfortable with your peak mileage levels, you can start to stack harder days next to each other. And that's an approach that worked really well for me. There's a concept in training called cumulative fatigue. And what that means is allowing your body to feel tired going into workouts, because you get the most benefit when you're pushing yourself consistently and not allowing yourself to fully recover. We know that we only grow and we only increase our fitness when we push our body and stress our body, and we don't get the same amount of stress if we're recovering fully. So doing longer recovery runs, doing steady runs before workout days, these are all tactics we can use to stress our body appropriately, not going over the line, not redlining and pushing ourselves too much. But these are little tactics we can use to allow that cumulative fatigue to get to just the right level that we increase our fitness. So again, this week I did a 16-mile long run. Throughout my block, I would add in different workouts to these long runs. So for this week, I did 4 miles of warm up and then 10 steady within that long run. So again, this was at a 6:40 to 6:50 pace. For me, the main purpose of these workouts is a way to make the run a little bit more exciting. Instead of just saying I'm gonna go out and run 2 hours at the same exact pace, this allows me to get in my head and say, okay, I just gotta do 4 miles of warm up, and then I have this interesting, exciting, steady pace in the middle that will challenge me mentally and let me be a little bit more locked in than if I were just gonna do a zone 2 run the entire time. So the week of September 25th, this was my last week of 100 miles per week. It was also the first week that I broke out the Kipchoge Vaporfly, so that was exciting. But again, I stuck to the program here. The week before, I had to push my long run to Sunday. I'm not sure what was going on Saturday, but you know, it's something, and that is something important. Now, I know I said you should be doing your workouts on the same day every week, but of course life is gonna happen, right? We have kids, we have sicknesses, we have work travel, like stuff's gotta move around. So if you gotta move something around once or twice, that's fine. Moving something from a Saturday to a Sunday, it's not gonna be a huge deal as long as you get right back to that schedule and you're also allowing your body to recover. So what I did, because I had that long run on Sunday, instead of going right into my normal steady Monday run, I took a recovery day on Monday. So I did this Monday run at a 7:56 per mile pace. If you look at the previous Monday, I was at a 6:40 pace for that 10 miles. So that was a lot slower, a lot easier on the body to allow myself to recover from that 16-mile long run. So Tuesday, my workout was this ladder. I absolutely despise ladder workouts. Man, these are so tough. What a ladder workout is you start with a shorter interval of work, so 400 meters, and then you have a rest in between and go up to 800, then 1200, 600, work back down. I don't like any workouts where I have to think too much, and this really makes me think. It makes me think about my pacing. It makes me think about, oh gosh, this pace feels pretty fast, and the next rep is going to be even longer. So climbing up that ladder is a pretty rough feeling, but these are the type of workouts that mentally condition you. So if we look at the pace analysis of this workout, I ran my first 400 meters at a 5:47. Then I dropped to 5:55 for that 800. Then for the 1200, I was at around 6. For the mile rep, I was at 5:54. At 5:56 for the second 1200, at 5:42. And then I guess I gave it the gas for this last 400 and I hit a 4:52. So these were pretty even splits. I generally try to run even splits or slight negative splits during workouts, so getting faster. If you see me post an activity on Strava and I get slower, that means that I was feeling pretty rough that day. So after that Tuesday workout, I had a 10-mile recovery run. Guess I was feeling pretty beat up. I ran that at an 8:19 pace. Then Thursday into a nice easy aerobic recovery run, and Friday we went into that half marathon race pace workout. Now again, you'll see here I took an extra day of recovery between the Tuesday and the Friday. I knew that because I did that long run workout on Sunday. I needed a few extra days to recover, so I didn't want to stack the Tuesday and Thursday workouts close enough. So you got to listen to your body. While cumulative fatigue is super important, it's also important that you're allowing yourself to rest and recover enough so you're not redlining when you do hit a tough workout. And so for me, I knew taking that one extra day was what my body needed. So this week, again, I headed up to Duke. I was on the treadmill. So for this long run, I was on the treadmill. I did 3 miles of warm up, 3 of cool down, with the middle 10 miles at a 6:40 pace, and the last 2 at a 6 flat pace. That's a pretty beast long run, but on the treadmill makes it a lot more fun. So for the last few weeks, I started coming down in mileage. You'll see I did 88 miles the week of October 2nd, 80 miles the week of October 9th, and then on race week, I ended with about 50 miles. And my schedule got a little bit messed up here because I was going to my sister's wedding. I was coming off of the Duke program, but I was consistent still with the 16-mile long run, and I was consistent still with the Tuesday workout. So again, no matter what the circumstances are week on week, you should try to be consistent with those non-negotiables. And for me, that Tuesday workout and that long run and my weekly mileage were the 3 things that I was not gonna let slip. So the last key workout here that I did, this was a fun one. I got it from a Philly Bowden video. It was 5 by 1 miles at lactate threshold with a half-mile float in between. So I progressed these from about a 5:52 pace to a 5:36 pace and ran the float at a 6:50 pace. This is an absolutely beast workout, and I was in peak fitness when I was running this. If I tried this right now, I'd probably be pretty gassed. I don't even know if I could take this on right now, but this was one of the workouts where I knew I wanted to push myself. I wanted to see where my fitness was at, and I was able to execute this with relative ease because I had those consistent Tuesday workouts stacking up from the past 6 weeks. So for the last few weeks, I was pulling my mileage down, staying consistent with that Tuesday workout, making it a little bit less strenuous on the body than before. So whereas I would have done a 6 by 1 mile on a non-race week, I ended up only doing a 3 by 1 mile on 2 weeks before the race. And then the week before the race, I did 4 by 1 mile as a final sharpening workout. So race week, kept the mileage very light, did a 6-mile run on Monday instead of that usual 10, no doubles on this week. So kept it pretty light. I did that Tuesday workout, 4 by 1 mile, and then 6, 8, and 4 leading into the race to be pretty fresh for race day. Now my taper was the one part where I felt maybe I pulled back the mileage a little bit too much. I really love running high mileage. I love how my body feels when it is a little bit stressed versus on the fresher side. I also like how my mind feels when I'm allowed to push myself and just not sit here and get anxious about how the race is gonna go. So next time I think I'm gonna do the taper a little bit differently, but the hard work paid off in the results. I came in at 1:19.28, which was 32 seconds below my goal. Now I want to end here with a few takeaways from my training that you can implement into your training. So if you are looking to get faster in the half marathon, the best thing that you can do is to increase your weekly mileage safely to a challenging but comfortable level. For me, that level in the last training block was 100 miles per week. And I held that mileage level for 3 weeks. So I worked all summer at 60 miles per week, 70 miles per week, gradually ramping it up to 80 miles per week before I finally pushed it to 100 miles per week. For you, that might be 60 or 70, but I would say if you know that you have a target race next year, start now. Start this winter, start this autumn, building your aerobic base. Grab a new pair of max cushion shoes that are gonna get you excited about running slow, and just crank through some low and slow zone 2 miles, getting that aerobic base up. The second thing is once you've built that aerobic base up, just 2 or 3 or 4 months of easy running, you gotta be consistent with the workout. Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day of the week it is, at least one workout a week will do so much good for your fitness. I went for way too long without doing consistent structured workouts, and it showed in my race results. I was stuck around that 124, 125 half marathon time for about 6 to 8 months because I wasn't doing structured training. So while aerobic base building is great, you're not gonna get faster just by doing that. You need to add some extra stimulus with speed, with an elevated heart rate that challenges you, that gets some turnover in your legs, and picking one workout day a week to do that is the best way to do it. Now, this doesn't even need to be anything complex. We're gonna be doing 4 by 1 mile or 6 by 800. You don't need any complicated math equations. If you run 5 miles every Tuesday, just do it as a 5K time trial every week. This is something that I got from the Lydiard book I read recently. Run this at 7/8 effort and don't finish with the sprint. So it'll be a pretty hard effort. It's equivalent to a workout, but it's a little bit easier for you mentally. You don't have to memorize paces. You don't have to memorize reps. Just go out and run hard once a week. That is a great way to add a workout into your weekly schedule while keeping it pretty easy. Now, the last thing you should be doing for your running if you want to get faster in the half marathon is to add a weekend long run. Now, while there's a ton of benefits to getting that weekly mileage up, the key of that, the little cherry on top of it, is the weekend long run. Doing a 2-hour aerobic effort has a ton of benefits for capillary development, for sending more blood to your muscles, for helping your body get more efficient at burning fat versus carbs, which allows you to run longer without getting tired. So if you are not doing at least a 2-hour long run once every other week, add that in now. As you start building your aerobic base, it's also a great way to bag 4 to 5 more miles than you would be normally. So for me, I picked 16 miles as my target level of long run. This next training block, I'll probably bump that up to 18 or 20. For you, maybe that's gonna be 13, 14, 15, depending on your pace, but try to get at least 2 hours every other week, and that's gonna do a ton for your aerobic development and a ton for getting you faster as a runner. All right, guys, so I was really excited to show you my training today. Let me know in the comments what questions you have about my approach and what's worked for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video.